Good morning. I am Jimmy T, and I'm 96 days away from hopping on a plane with a one-way ticket to the Philippines. And the reason I'm creating a lot of this content now is because I've seen a lot of content. I've been looking at this relocation for some time, and there's a lot of great stuff on YouTube, other platforms. YouTube is what I've primarily been using. And there's a lot of great content about people once they're there and all the logistics and the things you have to think about, which I'll get into that once that time comes. But what I haven't seen a lot is what people are doing to prepare to get there. Most of the time it's kind of a passing thought. They're like, hey, I got rid of everything and here I am in Manila, or here I am in Dumaguete. Well, that process is, it's not easy, and that's what I'm in the middle of, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to share with you. This is my third video. I haven't put a lot of thought into how I'm going to do it. I'm not doing anything scripted. I'm talking into the camera and trying to let people know what this process looks like for me, and I really want to show people step by step as I go through these next 96 days and what it's taking for me to wrap up my life and my business here in Chicago, where I've lived since 1987. And I thought that there's some value in that. I hope there is anyway, because it's a little intimidating. It's a little overwhelming, I think, to think, man, I'm gonna move to another country. Now, as I've mentioned before, I've been to the Philippines 4 times. My most recent trip was just this past October 2025. That's when I went there to really cement my decision, because I hadn't been there for 8 years. So I went back and said, I'm going to really evaluate this and look at it from a perspective of, yeah, you can do anything. A vacation almost anywhere is great. You're seeing different things. You're eating different foods, seeing different people, the vacation perspective, but the living perspective, and actually what's daily life going to be like, that's when I started to kind of look at it from that perspective on this last trip. I tried to think, wow, am I going to wake up to this climate every day? Am I going to wake up to this type of rhythm? The good stuff, the not so good stuff. Doesn't matter where you go, there's always a mixed bag. But what I want to share with you and really emphasize is you can do this. You most definitely can do it. Does it take planning? Yes. Does it take courage? I think it takes a lot of courage. I have to admit, I'm pretty pleased with myself. I didn't know that I had the huevos to to pull this off. And slowly but surely, incrementally, I'm figuring out how to do it. And that's a little bit of what I want to talk about this morning. Coffee is life. Is the things that you want to think about, and giving yourself time. I keep emphasizing this. The more time you have, the more leverage you have. If you procrastinate, if you try to wait to the last minute to take care of a lot of the logistical things that you have to, it's going to be too overwhelming. I think you're going to miss some important details that you have to have in place. And at first, when I started to think about this plan, I got overwhelmed. Again, my ADHD brain, I feel like I'm a relatively intelligent person, but I can get overwhelmed with too many thoughts, too many moving parts, and pretty soon I find myself just like, maybe I'll just make myself a sandwich instead of trying to think about all this stuff. My brain just starts to shut down a little bit when I get overwhelmed. And I'll be mentioning this probably on a regular basis. That's where ChatGPT really helped me. No, I'm not a spokesperson for ChatGPT, but you can use any AI. That's the one I started using, and it's been helpful. And I always remind people, it's not infallible. You have to cross-check information, but it's pretty solid, and it's helped with strategic planning when I simply wanted to say, hey, if I wanted to move to the Philippines, what would that look like? What would I have to do? What's the kind of budget? And it's a conversation. If you're not using any AI, I would encourage you to try it. Now, you're going to have, there's people out there that saying AI is horrible and it's, it's bad for the environment and you're going to stay away from it. That's a whole nother subject. For me, it's a tool. I'm using it, and it's very different than a Google search. It's a conversation. You can enhance the conversation. You can ask for details. So for me, with the way my brain operates, or sometimes doesn't operate, it was really helpful because all of a sudden I started seeing in black and white, oh, this is a budget. If I lived in this area, here's what I should expect for my rent. Here's what utilities look like. Here's what a food budget looks like. Here's what the visa renewal is going to look like. Here's probably how much a flight is going to look like. You know what? Let me mention something about that. Don't be naive. Turns out a one-way ticket to the Philippines is not half the price of a round-trip ticket. I don't know. I thought it would be. It doesn't work that way. I realized that because I just recently bought my first one-way ticket to the Philippines, and I was really excited to do it. And I was really excited to see that it was going to be about, $650. Well, it didn't turn out that way. So you save a little bit, but the idea of buying a one-way ticket to a tropical place, that was pretty exciting. That's something that's been in the back of my head for a long, long time. It was just a fantasy. And now I'm close to making it happen. So I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I wanted to emphasize getting yourself organized earlier rather than later. And everything doesn't have to happen on one day. That's what I started to get overwhelmed by. I thought, all these things, how the hell do I figure out all these logistics? How do I get rid of everything I own? How do I do this? And if it gets overwhelming, you shut down and you don't do it. The thing is, and you learn it as you start going, and I have, every decision doesn't have to be made at one time. You don't have to figure out everything at one time. There's priorities and there's systems. The most important thing, once you say, all right, I'm going to do this, and an initial budget is a good place to start. Figure out if you at least have the financial wherewithal to do this. And you might be able to do it for less money than you think. I was in a place that I thought, you know what, I'm pushing 63, and I thought, and I'm self-employed, I thought I probably should save for about another 2 or 3 years. Well, that gets back to a whole other discussion I had on another video. Is you're giving up some prime healthy years that you could be engaging in your new life. And so everything's a trade-off. For me, I thought, yeah, would the maybe practical side of things say save more, spend some more years working? Perhaps, but there's no guarantee. My business as a self-employed fitness trainer, and I've done it for a long time, my overhead's gonna stay the same. My rent, everything that it costs to live in Chicago, it's gonna stay the same. What may not stay the same is my income. It vacillates. There's times I have a big client load. There's times that it dips. People change, people move, people pass away. All kinds of things can affect my income. But what doesn't change is my overhead, my fixed cost. And this is it's an expensive city to live in. So start using, and AI was helpful to me. Maybe you have other resources, you can do your searches however you want to do it, but initiate a budget. Start to look at how much money do I have? Where am I at? What can I liquidate in order to get hold of some more cash? And for me, I started taking Social Security this past fall. It was another one of those decisions. Man, if I wait till I'm 70, I could have another $700 a month coming in. That sounds great, and maybe by the time I'm 70, I'll say, oh, well, shit, maybe I should have done that. I don't think so, because you only have one shot at this. And I thought, get that money now, get it working for me, make it part of my relocation budget. Because the thing is, and to be clear, I am not retiring. I don't, quite honestly, I don't have the bank to just go there and not work anymore, which is fine. I'm relatively young. I'm relatively healthy. I still like what I do. I'm going to be changing how I do things. I'm moving to a strictly online platform with working with my clients who are the over 50 crowd. But the thing is, put together a little bit of a budget. Start to get an idea, can you make it happen? Run some of those numbers. If you have anybody with, if you have a retirement account, if you have any kind of financial advisor, talk to people like that a little bit. You can have a brief conversation about what you're contemplating, what these numbers might look like, but do a little planning. And once you start to see that, it's doable, and you have to understand that you are moving to an economy that does allow the US dollar to work better for you than it does right here in the US, you might realize that you can do it with a little less money than you initially thought. Once you get that in place, you have to start thinking about liquidation. And that means selling stuff, getting rid of your stuff. And I mentioned it a little bit on the previous video. Using Facebook Marketplace has been my workhorse for getting rid of everything. And it's amazing. I'm going to put down some things in a little more organized fashion once I learn how YouTube works and how to lay out a spreadsheet or whatever. But this is, first of all, this is my sophisticated organizing system. That's right. Now, you might be a computer genius. You might be really organized with creating PDFs and files and having it all organized on your little laptop. I'm working on that. I'm getting better at it. But get yourself a notebook, a pen, a folder. Start getting everything in one place. As I started to do this, I was all over the map. I had Post-it notes. I had things scribbled in my planner. I had screenshots of stuff on my computer. It was a cluster. So start getting everything consolidated, because you are going to be doing some research. You're going to be checking out different things online. With ChatGPT, I do a lot of, I'll ask certain things, certain subjects, put lists together, whatever it might be. And then I just tell ChatGPT to create a PDF, real simple. It's just a voice command. PDF gets done, and then I print it. And so for the way I operate, I like to see stuff. I still like things I like them on paper. I like printed items. Simple thing like this. I like to have it. Cell phone setup plan, US number and Philippines number. It's just a logistical thing that I like to have on paper, because it's something I don't want to have to try to remember. There's a lot of things too. So once you get things on paper, get it in a folder or whatever your organization system is, start doing that, because you're going to be thinking about all kinds of different things, and it becomes overwhelming and you don't have to figure it all out. But start making a list. Put it down. You'll start to prioritize, like, what do I have to do a deeper dive on? What do I have to look into with more detail? And what I've realized is some of the logistical things, they can wait a little bit longer. They can. You can figure out your cell phone situation and how to port your number and how to get a local phone number and a local phone and a SIM card and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that if you're 5 months away. It's all doable. You just look online. All kinds of people are doing it. Sophisticated people. You can see people that really know what they're doing, that are pretty savvy, experienced travelers, successful business people. And then there's some goofballs out there that they're doing it, they're pulling it off too. I'm probably in the middle of those two, maybe. I don't know. But Start getting an organization system so that you have things in place, and start figuring out how to liquidate your items. The longer you have to sell stuff, the better off you're going to be. And Facebook Marketplace for me has been it's done wonders. I've sold over 90 things in the last 4 months. And again, this is a list. I've just been jotting it down. Every time I sell something, I put it down. And we're talking, I'm just gonna rattle off a couple of items here that I've sold. A pair of old curtains, $100. A steel cabinet, $40. A planter, $45. Art books, $15. An old bistro table, $16. My tools. Now my tools, that was painful. I'm a guy, guys, I know some of you ladies out there as well have this thing about tools. It's part of our identity. I've sold all my tools except a couple of little tiny hand tools, which I'll probably end up shipping there, but that's a whole nother story. For right now, I sold almost everything I had. Plants, a lamp for $45, an old desk chair, $400, desk and chair rather. Now that is something that was something in my family, and it was my grandmother's. And some of this stuff that you're parting with, there is emotional weight. Selling an old lamp, maybe it doesn't mean anything. A desk that my grandmother had since the turn of the century, literally, and it was in my family, that was a different story. What I had to realize is these things that remind us of people, they are not that relationship. Those things are not what we care about and think about. It's the association. And when those things are gone, it doesn't break the association. So there is an emotional process that you have to go through with getting rid of certain things and thinking, if I give this away, if I sell this thing, I'm giving away that thought or that feeling for that person. And it doesn't work that way. And there's a lot of information out there, online, books, all kinds of stuff that can, help you through this process much better than I can. But I do know enough to know that these things they're symbols, and they don't need to physically be in your life to have those nice thoughts about people that have been in your life, that you've loved, that have loved you. You can get rid of them. And my motivation with everything right now is cash accumulation. I'm taking the energy from all those objects, all those things that have been in my life, things that have served me, things I've appreciated, things that have given me some warm thoughts, and I am pushing them right into a pile of cash. And that's what's important for my life right now. So the emotional part of some of these things, you have to deal with it. A few other things: an old dartboard, $55, a teapot, $30, an old art print, $30, storage containers, $45, a peace lily. I'm selling all my plants. I'm selling everything, $60. So, and the biggies that I've mentioned on another video was gold, and I'll mention that again because I think it's important to know gold is about $5,000 an ounce right now. If you have old gold jewelry, things that were gifted to you, maybe jewelry from, when you were younger, or current stuff you have, look at it. How important is it? I sold some old family gold, a few things that were my grandfather's, and my high school class ring. Just those 3 items landed me $2,650 at a pawn shop here in Chicago. Go to a few different places, try to make sure you're getting a solid offer. But for 3 pieces of jewelry that were sitting in a drawer that I never looked at, that are never going to really serve me or do anything, who knows? Maybe next year gold will be $10,000 an ounce. I don't know. But this was the time for me to liquidate it, and that was a pretty good chunk of change. You can hear, besides those pieces of gold, the number of things that I've been rattling off. We're talking $40 items and $100 items and $80. My old Cross pen and pencil set, $55. My DVDs, $25. Not a lot of money, but were they weight? Was I gonna drag my DVDs to the Philippines? No. My old CDs, you know, I'm almost 63. I had my big CD collection. Maybe it was 300 CDs or something. I don't know. But you know, we were all part of that damn CD club that they'd mail you 5 of them for 99 cents. So I accumulated a lot of those. Sold all those, didn't really think about it, $100. Somebody bought that. So all these small ticket items, but right now, as we are sitting here, that is a total of $6,968. Actually, I sold something for $20 yesterday. So I'm at $6,988. So we're gonna call it $7,000. It's $7,000 of cash that I've generated in the last, well, I started selling in October. So I think that's a good chunk of change. And I keep emphasizing to everyone that you probably have more value than you realize. Look around, start getting pricing, figuring it out. I'm gonna do a little screen recording of how I just have ChatGPT create these listings and move it right over, copy and paste it right over into Facebook Marketplace. It's easy, it really is. And once you learn how to do it, and it's not real sophisticated, but everything, you know, takes a little bit of learning. Once you do it, you get a rhythm and you can start posting things over and over. I live in a big market. I live in a big city here in Chicago. So it's easier for me to sell these things. Smaller towns, it might be a little bit more challenging. That's why I'm encouraging people to get started early. You can figure out your cell phone and you can figure out, you know, how much a Visa renewal is and travel hacks and the perfect neck pillow, and you can do all that kind of stuff. You can do that down the road. If you're ready to pull the trigger on this, get started now, because time gives you leverage. You can make better decisions, and the next video or the one after that, I'm just going to show you real quickly how I work between ChatGPT and the online marketplace. I encourage you to use multiple platforms. If it's just spread a big net out there. Sell it through Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, OfferUp. There's a new app, Carrot, spelled with a K. That's another one I'm starting to post stuff on. So get started early. I'm going to try to keep creating content of actually how to do it, but trust me, you have more value at home in your possessions that are going to really weigh you down if you try to cling to them. They're not important. Right now, what's important is a new life experience, a whole new chapter, not the things around you. You can always get more things, but I want to get more things in another country. I've gotten all the use out of my current things that I need to, and that chapter is closing. So that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. Time for another cup of coffee. All right, everybody, hang loose.